Alright students, so welcome to my channel Omni Gyan. I'm again back with another video today for class 12 English. Okay, and today we are going to discuss the poem, learn the poem, Keeping Quiet, composed by Pablo Neruda. Okay, now let me just wait for 2-3 minutes for some viewers at least to be live here with me. Alright, so this is what we are going to learn today. Alright, without delay, let us just start our video today. Okay, so this is Keeping Quiet. Alright, English syllabus class 12, Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Okay, now the poem is quite simple but the meaning is very deeper. Okay, poem तो बहुत ही simple है लेकिन meaning इसका बहुत ही ज़्यादा deep है इसका meaning, और हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे. I'll try to explain in as easy language as possible, and please follow the screen, okay, because on the screen I have line by line explanation for all of you. मैंने बिल्कुल line by line explanation किया है आप सब लोगों के लिए ताकि आप लोगों को कोई समझने में कोई दिक्कत ना हो. ठीक है, तो हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं यहाँ पे. And now one more thing, the stanzas which are given in your book may not be similar to the one that you can see on the screen. तो आपके बुक में जो stanzas है, stanza number 1, number 2, number 3 ऐसे करके जो है वो similar नहीं भी हो सकता है इससे, तो इससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. does not matter because if you look at the lines you can divide the stanzas according to what is there given in your book. ठीक है, तो आप लोग लाइन पे ध्यान दीजिए तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. और मैं लाइन बाय लाइन एक्सप्लेनेशन करने वाला हूं आप सब लोगों को. आई एम गोइंग टू मेक अ लाइन बाय लाइन एक्सप्लेनेशन टू ऑल ऑफ यू. ओके, Sengra Gaming is saying good evening. Okay, Gary Limbu, good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay, so let us learn the poem now. Okay, now we will count to 12 and we all will keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for a moment. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. So, इसका meaning क्या है? What is the meaning of this? The poet tells us to keep silent and motionless. Okay, motionless means not moving. Just hold on a second. Let me put my. All right. So motionless means not moving. Okay, हिलना डुलना बिल्कुल नहीं. ठीक है. So the poet tells us to keep silent, tells all of us to keep silent and not move. Okay, and we must do this when the poet counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then he counts till 12. Okay, so with the count of 12 we should be quiet and we should not move. Okay, हम the poet जब 12 गिनेंगे तब हम चुपचाप हो जाएंगे और हम बिल्कुल हिलेंगे डुलेंगे नहीं. We will not move. He tells us not to speak in any language, probably because language creates barriers and discrimination. So silence, however, is a universal language and so would unite us. So poet हमें कहता है, just look at this line, let us not speak in any language. Let's stop for a second. Okay, so let us not speak in any language. This is what the poet tells us. Okay, let us not कि हम कोई language में speak नहीं करेंगे because silence is languageless. Okay, Sengra is saying that make about rat trap in simple English language, my dear sir. Make videos as early as possible. Yes, tomorrow, I hope tomorrow or by Monday I will be able to provide you the explanation for rat trap. Okay, all right, and yes, I make as simple explanation as possible from my side. Okay, that is very easy to understand. ठीक है Sengra, or rat trap I'll bring you by Monday. By Monday you will get rat trap. So the poet tells us that don't speak in any language because probably because language creates barriers and discrimination also. Okay, somebody will speak one language, the other person will speak another language, this will again create a lot of clashes. तो उससे भी झगड़ा हो सकता है और दीवार खड़ा हो जाता है हम सबके बीच. ओके, ह्यूमन बीइंग्स शुड बी कंप्लीटली, ह्यूमन बीइंग जो है वो कंप्लीटली जो है he should not discriminate people, he should not discriminate anybody. Okay, silence however is a universal language, so would unite us. Now silence does not have any language. Obviously silence means not speaking. So when we don't speak, obviously we all become, this is a common factor between all of us. When we all remain silent, there is no problem, there is no quarrel, there is no argument when we all remain silent. Okay, so silent is a kind of a universal language, and everyone, with this silence everyone will be united, everyone will be together. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं हम लोग. He tells us to stop for a second and not move our arms. So the poet tells us that stop for a second and don't move your hands or legs. Okay, now not to move our arms here means not to do any work. Okay, because we work with our arms, no, this is our arms and we work with our arms, right, with our hands. So the poet says that by not moving our arms, okay, the poet actually means to say that हम कोई काम ना करें, so that we don't do any work. Okay, and just remain silent and introspect. Introspect means self examination. We must do self examination. ठीक है, introspection means think within ourselves. Okay, think about our actions, think about our deeds. Gary is saying something. Sir, I think you must start with the class 11 English also. Actually, I wanted to start with class 11 English, but I thought that class 12, because class 12 will, they are under directly under Meghalaya Board of School Education MBOSE, and their syllabus is more important. I'm not saying that class 11 syllabus is not important, but because they are, they appear board exams, so I feel that if I could prepare them for board exams by making the videos as fast as possible. So once I finish up with class 12, I'll come back to class 11 also. All right, don't worry, Gary, I'll start explaining class 11 videos also. Okay, now, so not to move our arm here means that we should not work and just remain silent and introspect. Introspect here means self-examination. Now self-examination can be done. Self-examination can be done when we keep silent and just think. रहेंगे और think करेंगे, तभी जो है हम सोच सकते. Only then we can think that what I have, what things I have done wrong, which are the things that I have done, wrong, or which are the things that I have done correctly. All these things actually, silence enables us to think about all these things. ये silence ही एक ऐसा चीज है जो self examination में help करता है कि आप सारा दिन जो काम करते हैं कि आपने ठीक किया या गलत किया, ये आप 2 मिनट अगर चुपचाप बैठ के सोचेंगे. इफ यू जस्ट सिट एंड थिंक फॉर 2 मिनट्स कि पूरा दिन जो मैंने जो भी किया वो मैंने ठीक किया या गलत किया, ये सिर्फ साइलेंस से ही आ सकता है. दैट इज व्हाई द पोएट यूजेस द टूल, द वर्ड साइलेंट हियर. ओके, साइलेंस हियर. ओके, तो इंट्रोस्पेक्शन मींस डीप थिंकिंग एंड थिंकिंग अबाउट आवर डीड्स एंड एक्शंस. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट, the poet suggests us not to go after the worldly desires and just sit silently and delve within ourselves. Singra is saying something. Thank you, sir, for the first. I'm coming from Garo Hills, Meghalaya. I'm also from Garo Hills. I'm also from Garo Hills, Singra, from Tura itself. All right. Okay. So the poet tells us that we must not go after worldly desires. See, all of us, we have become so much money minded. हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा money minded हो चुके हैं. We have become too much money minded. We cannot think anything other than money. This money minded thing is called the worldly desires. That I want this, I want that. Okay. So the poet says that we should not go after worldly desires. Okay, and just sit silently. So he tells us to sit silently and delve, go deeper within ourselves. तो हमारे अंदर हमें झांक के देखना चाहिए कि जो भी हम कर रहे हैं सही कर रहे हैं या गलत कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, लेट अस मूव ऑन विद द नेक्स्ट लाइंस. इट वुड बी एन एक्सॉटिक मोमेंट विदाउट रश, विदाउट engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. You can follow. I'm so sorry. You can follow your book from this. You can follow your book from this line to this line. Okay. Let's move on to the explanation. Gary, because after hearing your explanation, I have never fear of my exam, even though if I have even prepared before exam for my exam. Okay, Gary, thank you so much for the compliment. I also really feel great when students say that they have been benefited from my video. All right, I really feel great when they say that, sir, I have scored good marks in exam after watching your video. Sir, I have written very good in exam after watching your video. I also really feel very great, very honored actually. Thank you so much for being in the channel and watching the videos. Okay, now let us go through the explanation now. So explanation of these lines. Okay, these lines. Okay, so it would be a very unusual moment that everyone would be suddenly silent. Obviously, you go outside, you see a lot of noises, vehicles, people moving all around. It is so much noisy outside. No, suddenly, just imagine, suddenly the world becoming silent. So that would be very odd, right? ये तो बहुत ही strange हो जाएगा. It would be very odd, very unusual, right? So the poet says that it would be a very unusual moment when everybody would become suddenly silent. Okay, there will be no rush. People will not rush. All the people will be motionless, just sitting in one place and thinking. Silence is completely there. Okay, so there will be no rush. People will not be running here and there. There will be no sounds of vehicles. There will be no sounds of machines. There will be no sound of engines. Okay, everything will be completely silent. और सब कुछ जो है बिल्कुल सन्नाटा छा जाएगा पूरे धरती पर. ओके, अगर ऐसा हुआ तो ओके, तो एवरीवन वुड बी टुगेदर. नाउ व्हेन एवरीबॉडी वुड बी साइलेंट, that means what? That would be a common factor for everybody. That silence would be a common factor for everybody. So everyone would be together. Together means again everyone would be united in a suddenly silent world. सब लोग जो है वो एक साथ आ जाएंगे, यूनाइटेड हो जाएंगे. ओके, इन दिस साइलेंट वर्ल्ड. ओके, सो साइलेंट इन वन वे, साइलेंट वुड यूनाइट अस आल्सो. पोएट ये कह रहा है कि साइलेंस, जब हम लोग चुपचाप हो जाएंगे तो ये हमें जो है यूनिटी देगा. ओके, वी विल बी यूनाइटेड. देन सर, हाउ कैन आई गो फॉर ट्यूशन? सर, ट्यूशंस, you don't need tuitions. You see, why to waste money for tuition after tuitions? You watch my video. That will be more than enough. And obviously I always provide free of cost videos for students. I don't charge anything. All right, now this silence or stillness will result in no fisherman harming any whale. So here you look at the lines. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. So these four lines mean what? The silence or motionlessness, stillness, will result in no fisherman harming any whale. So when everybody will become silent, people will not move anywhere. So what will happen? Fishermen will not do any work. That means fishermen will not be harming the whales also. है ना, फिशरमैन जो है whales को बिल्कुल harm नहीं करेगा. Okay, through the example of whales, the poet actually means that no animals will be killed if people would remain silent and motionless. So it is not only whale, it is not only the whale in the water, but through the example of whale, the poet actually means this whole animal world. Okay, that no animal will be killed when people will become silent and people will not move around. जब लोग काम नहीं करेंगे, जब लोग चुपचाप बैठे रहेंगे, ठीक है ना, जब कोई काम ही नहीं होगा तो फिशरमैन जो है वो वेल्स को नहीं मारेगा. या वेल से जो है पोएट ये कहना चाह रहा है कि जितने भी एनिमल्स है, डॉग्स, कैट्स, बर्ड्स, व्हाटएवर, ओके, जो भी एनिमल्स है, किसी को नुकसान नहीं पहुंचेगा. नो एनिमल्स विल बी किल्ड, नो एनिमल्स वुड बी हार्म्ड और हर्ट. ओके, जब लोग चुपचाप बिल्कुल एक जगह चुपचाप बैठेंगे, है ना. Then the man gathering salt would look at his wounded hands, which are hurt due to excessive work. Now you see, we have this tendency, we work excessively. हम लोग जो है बहुत ज्यादा काम करते हैं, excessive work करते हैं. Why? To earn money. So money is the factor. Money is the factor. We don't give our quality time to our family. इस काम के चक्कर में हम लोग अपना quality time अपने family को नहीं देते. अल्टीमेटली क्या करता है पैसा? कुछ भी नहीं करता है. When people die, they don't carry money with them. What do they carry with them? They carry good thoughts, good deeds, right? Money nobody carries. So everyone comes empty-handed. Everybody will go empty-handed. खाली हाथ आए थे लोग, खाली हाथ ही चले जाएंगे. What to explain right now? Just upload it, please. Okay. It will be uploaded. Okay, after the live video, it will be there on my channel only. You'll be able to watch it anytime you want. Even if you want, you can download it offline also. later, not now, after the live stream will end. Okay, जब live stream end हो जाएगा, ये वीडियो वहीं पे रहेगा. You can download it offline also. Okay, it will stay there only on YouTube. All right, and please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and click on that notification item, bell icon. Okay, so that whenever I upload any new video, you can get the notification. I am also there on Instagram and Facebook also. You can check my description. All right, Stingra, you can check the description box and follow me on Instagram and Facebook also. So the man gathering salt would look at his wounded hands which are hurt due to excessive work. So we do excessive work, why? To earn money. And in this, in this is chakkar mein kya hota hai? In this process what happens is that we become sick, we become unhealthy, we become ill. So in one way, you see, the man who is gathering salt will look at his hands and see that all his hands are wounded, okay, because of excessive work. So he will now stop his work, salt gathering work. He will now sit quietly and think that why am I working so much? Am I working for my family or only for money? If I work for money, then I will not look after my family. And if I'm working for my family, then money is important, but my family is also important. Okay? So indirectly the poet means to say like that. Let's move on. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. So the poet here talks of the evils of war. It's very important to understand. The poet here talks of war and the evils of war. Okay. The poet speaks of those people who prepare green wars. अब green war का मतलब क्या है? यहाँ पे जो है, here the poet is speaking of those people who are preparing green wars. What are green wars? Like people destroying the environment, people cutting down the trees. There's a large scale deforestation that is happening all around the world, right? Which is destroying all the greeneries. So this is, in one way, this is called the green war. Okay, people who destroy the environment by cutting trees, deforestations, etc., etc. Okay, then the poet talks about those people who do war with gases. How pollution of the environment due to harmful gases. When poet is talking about people who are doing war with gases, that means people are talking of those people who are polluting the environment, okay, due to the harmful gases. You think about the industries and factories that emit poisonous smokes from their factories, industries. That is very harmful for us. Okay, it gets mixed in the air, and what happens is that we suffer many kinds of diseases due to these kind of pollutions. All right, so the poet is talking about those people who actually do war with gases. That means pollute the environment. Pollution of the environment can be done in various other ways. Say vehicles also, no, smoke comes out of the vehicles, that also pollutes the environment. So ultimately the poet is blaming us, we people. Okay, हम जिम्मेदार है इसके लिए. आज जितना भी pollution आप देखते हैं, उसके लिए हम सब जिम्मेदार है. We are all responsible for the pollution. Okay. He also talks of people who prepare wars with fire. So he is now talking of those people who prepare war with fire. Fire means fighting with weapons like guns and cannons. Especially the poet is here hinting at the war. Poet यहाँ पे जो है war के बारे में बात कर रहा है. He is talking about war. Okay. ठीक है. तो now what will happen to all these people? इन सब लोगों का क्या होगा? All these people will also put on clean clothes and walk with their brothers. So the poet is again and again mentioning about silence. Poet जो है बार बार silence के बारे में mention कर रहा है. Poet is saying that when everybody will become silent, when everybody will think and sit and think about their deeds, their actions, people will realize that they are doing big mistakes. Okay, and then what will happen? Suddenly this realization will make them good. ये जब realization अंदर आएगा तो लोग अच्छे हो जाएंगे. So all these people will put on clean clothes. Means what? When people will realize their mistakes, then they will become good. All right, and they will not fight, they will not kill, they will not harm anybody. ठीक है? And they will walk with their brothers. So they will walk with their brothers. मतलब, see, if you think anybody as your brother, you would never wish to hurt him. अगर आप किसी को अपना भाई समझते हैं, तो आप उसको कभी नुकसान नहीं पहुंचाएंगे. ठीक है ना? तो अगर हम एक दूसरे को भाई समझने लगेंगे, if we start thinking all the people of this world as brothers, then there will be no wars, there will be no fightings, there will be no quarrelings, everyone will be united. Okay, सो यूनिटी इज द नीड ऑफ द आवर। तो यूनिटी चाहिए हम सब लोगों को कि हम सब एक साथ मिलजुल के रहे, बिना किसी झगड़े के, बिना किसी वार के। This means that when everyone will self-examine their evil deeds, they will realize how wrong they have been by bringing distractions. तो पोएट यही कह रहा है कि when everyone will be silent, they will start self-examining about their evil deeds, कि हम कितना गलत कर रहे हैं। People will start thinking about their evil deeds, and they will realize, उनको ये पछतावा होगा, they will realize that how wrong we have been, doing by bringing destructions. कि इतने सारे डिस्ट्रैक्शंस लाके जो है हम दुनिया को बर्बाद कर रहे हैं। वी आर डिस्ट्रॉइंग द वर्ल्ड एक्चुअली स्लोली, सो लेट अस ऑल बी यूनाइटेड। ओके, एंड दिस रियलाइजेशन विल कम आफ्टर सेल्फ एग्जामिनेशन, आफ्टर इंट्रोस्पेक्शन। जब हम अपने अंदर झांक के देखेंगे अपनी गलतियों का, जब हमें एहसास होगा, व्हेन वी विल रियलाइज आवर मिस्टेक्स, देन ओनली यू सी देयर विल बी पीस। शांति होगा पूरे वर्ल्ड में, देयर विल बी पीस ऑल अराउंड द वर्ल्ड। ओके, now after the silence these people will realize their mistakes and promote universal brotherhood। यही मैं कह रहा था, this is what I was saying, that after the silence these people, ये जो लोग हैं, okay, somebody fighting with gas, somebody fighting with the green wars, somebody fighting with weapons, okay, with fire, all these people will think and they will realize their mistakes, and so universal brotherhood will be promoted. So promotion of universal brotherhood. Please upload soon about rat trap. May God continue to bless you, dear sir. Yes, Sangra, definitely I'll upload rat trap. Possibly by Monday you must get. Okay, if the internet connection is okay, possibly by Monday you must get, because this heavy rainfall here actually, as you know that we are having heavy rainfall in Garo Hills, so there is heavy rainfall here. Sometimes there is poor network connectivity actually, though I am using fiber internet, but still there is sometimes disruptions in the connectivity. Okay, but I'll try my best to upload rat trap by Monday, don't worry. Okay, so the poet asks everyone to remain silent because silence gives us an opportunity to think and re-examine. तो यहाँ बीच बीच में मैंने थोड़ा एनालिसिस भी किया है, एनालाइज्ड in the middle also. Okay, and at the end I have a big analysis for all of you that is going to be very important for class 12 students. Okay, and those who are, say for example, if there is any student who are there in the graduation, and if you have this poem, I think you should have, many universities actually have this poem in their syllabus. If by chance if you have this poem, this is the simplest explanation that I have made, which will help you to understand the summary of the poem. Okay, so the poet asks everyone to remain silent because silence gives us an opportunity to think and self-examine. देखिए, आप अगर किसी चीज के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, if you're thinking of something, can you talk and think at the same time? Not possible. If you're thinking of something very deeply, you need to remain quiet, you need to remain silent, and then sit and think. So silence actually gives us an opportunity to think and self-examine. जब आप silence mode में हैं, okay, like mobile phone, जब आप साइलेंट मोड में हैं, तभी जो है आपका दिमाग जो है वो सोचने के काबिल होता है. ओके, आवर ब्रेन इज enabled at that time to think when we are silent. Okay, so thus the poet says that instead of hatred we must spread love. The poet जो है ये कहना चाह रहे हैं, the poet wants to say, and he says this very strongly, that we should not hate one another, rather we should spread love. ठीक है, now we'll go to the next lines. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. Explanation. By keeping silent or not moving, the poet does not tell us to be totally inactive. See, this is a confusion that people might have, that we might have, that if we are silent, if we don't move, that means we are inactive. No, the poet says that we should not be inactive. We should be silent and we should not move, because we need to think deeply, but that does not mean inactivity. Inactivity means what? You are sleeping. So the poet tells us to remain silent and not move. So what you think is that, okay, so let me go and sleep. So when you sleep, can you think? You can dream, but you cannot think, right? आप सोचेंगे कहाँ? आप तो सपने देखेंगे, और जो सपना आप देखते हैं वो तो रियल नहीं होता है. Those dreams are never real, right? So the poet is not telling us to be inactive. Total inactivity जो है ये poet नहीं बोल रहा है. पोएट ये बोल रहे हैं कि हम साइलेंट रहे, हम हिले डुले ना, क्योंकि वो सोचने में हमें हमारी मदद करता है. दैट हेल्प्स अस टू थिंक एंड इंट्रोस्पेक्ट, ओके, एंड सेल्फ एग्जामिन. सो थिंकिंग एंड इंट्रोस्पेक्शन आर आल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ द एक्टिविटी. जब आप सोच रहे हैं खुले दिमाग से, विथ ओपन माइंड, व्हेन यू आर थिंकिंग समथिंग, यू आर एक्टिव. When you're introspecting, say whole day you did something, you do many works, and at night when you go to sleep you think about so many things, you are active. Your brain active means you are active. ठीक है ना, आपका ब्रेन अगर 100% फुल्ली एक्टिव है तो आप भी एक्टिव है. तो थिंकिंग एंड इंट्रोस्पेक्शन आर आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ एक्टिविटी. ठीक है, आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड. सो देयर शुड बी नो वायलेंस, ऑलराइट, देयर शुड बी नो वायलेंस एंड किलिंग्स. तो पोएट ये इनडायरेक्टली ये कहना चाह रहा है कि वायलेंस और किलिंग्स जो है बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. एंड दैट इज व्हाई ही सेज दैट नो ट्रक शुड कैरी डेड बॉडीज. लेट मी शो यू द लाइंस. आई वांट नो ट्रक विथ डेथ. दिस मींस दैट नो ट्रक शुड कैरी डेड बॉडीज. कोई ट्रक जो है वो डेड बॉडीज कैरी नहीं करना चाहिए. इसका मतलब कोई मरना नहीं चाहिए. दैट अगेन मींस दैट देयर शुड बी नो वायलेंस एंड किलिंग. कोई मारामारी, कोई वायलेंस, कोई किलिंग्स नहीं होना चाहिए. वी शुड एक्चुअली always have peace. ठीक है, so if let us now study the rest of the lines. If we were not so single-minded, let me tell you, single-minded means selfish here. Okay, selfish. So we should, if we're not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Let us look at the explanation now. The poet tells us that he wishes that we are not so selfish and greedy. So the poet tells us not to be selfish and greedy. Okay? And just keep moving with our life with all materialistic and money-minded thoughts. The poet हमें कह रहा है कि don't be money-minded, don't be materialistic, don't be selfish, don't be greedy. Think about everybody. सबके लिए सोचिए, सिर्फ अपने लिए मत सोचिए. Don't be money minded. Help others. Promote universal brotherhood. Okay. Now, perhaps a big silence will take away all this sadness of not understanding ourselves and constantly threatening ourselves with death. Now, let me tell you one thing. Say, if you're talking of quarreling with somebody or fighting with somebody, it will affect you also. It is going to affect you also. Right or wrong, it is going to affect you also. So don't think that by thinking wrong about somebody, by thinking ill about somebody, by thinking bad about somebody, you are actually doing a very good job, or we are actually doing a very good job. No, it affects our brain also, it affects us also. All right. And you see, perhaps a big silence will take away this sadness of not understanding ourselves. Okay, जब हम चुपचाप बैठ के सोचने लगेंगे, when we will sit silently and think, we will become sad that why didn't I realize this earlier, कि मैंने ये पहले क्यों नहीं समझा. ठीक है, तो ये रियलाइजेशन आपका आएगा और आप दुखी हो जाएंगे जब ये रियलाइजेशन आपके अंदर आएगा. when this realization will come to you, you will actually feel very sad that why didn't I understand before, कि मैं पहले ये चीज क्यों नहीं समझा. ठीक है, and we constantly threaten ourselves with death. इसका मतलब कि ऐसा हो जाता है कि when we think bad about somebody, okay, we actually harm ourselves only. हम अपने आप को ही threaten करते हैं. The poet tries to say that this selfishness, greed and materialistic outlook have been the main cause of wars and other destructions. Obviously, जब आप selfish होंगे, when you are selfish, when we are greed, when we have a money-minded outlook, materialistic outlook, okay, these are actually the main causes of wars and other destructions. Other destructions, like say for example deforestation, cutting down of trees. People are cutting down trees. Why? People are cutting down forest areas. Why? Because they want to construct big buildings there. Big constructions, hotels, buildings, resorts, this and that. Why? To earn money. Again, money mindedness. Now people never think, well, where will the animals go? The natural habitat of animals are forests. Where will the animals go if trees are cut down in this way, the way it is cut? Alright, so you see that all these money-minded, materialistic outlook, greed and selfishness have been the cause of, major causes of wars and destructions. ठीक है? the mentality has never allowed us to understand ourselves or what our soul wants. तो जब तक until we are money minded, we will never understand these things, that what actually my heart wants, what actually my soul wants. See, we all have a good heart that actually wants peace, that actually wants to promote brotherhood, but this mentality of money mindedness has never allowed us to understand ourselves or what our heart or what our soul wants. ये मेंटालिटी हमें अलाउ नहीं कर रहा है, क्योंकि हम इतने मनी माइंडेड हो चुके हैं, हम इतने पैसा पैसा करते हैं, हम इतना कि सोचने का वक्त ही नहीं मिलता हम लोगों को कि एक्चुअली में हार्ट क्या चाहता है, एक्चुअली में आत्मा जो है, ये सोल क्या चाहता है. ओके, इट वांट्स पीस एंड दैट विल कम थ्रू साइलेंस. चुपचाप साइलेंट होकर चुपचाप बैठिए, आपको जो है बिल्कुल सब कुछ समझ में आ जाएगा. Now, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Okay. So here what the poet says is that, look at the explanation. The poet gives the example of the earth in order to make us understand the importance of being patient through silence. एक बार देख लेते हैं. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. तो यहाँ पे explanation क्या हम लोग देख लेते हैं. The poet gives the example of the earth in order to make us understand the importance of being patient through silence. तो साइलेंस मतलब क्या? बीइंग साइलेंट ऑल्सो मीन्स टू बी पेशेंट, बहुत धैर्य रखना. ठीक है, तो धैर्य रखना मतलब साइलेंस रखना, धैर्य रखना. सो पोएट गिव्स द एग्जांपल ऑफ द अर्थ. तो पोएट हमें दो अर्थ के एग्जांपल दे रहा है. पोएट इज गिविंग अस द एग्जांपल ऑफ अर्थ इन ऑर्डर टू मेक अस अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ बीइंग पेशेंट थ्रू साइलेंस. अर्थ देखिए कितना पेशेंट है, बिल्कुल साइलेंट है. तो हमें अर्थ से सीखना होगी ये चीज. नाउ वन एक्सप्लेनेशन दैट यू कैन नोट इज दैट, से फॉर एग्जांपल विंटर, ड्यूरिंग विंटर ट्रीज शेड देयर लीव्स. पेड़ जो है, पेड़ों से पत्ते जो है झड़ जाते हैं. ट्रीज शेड देयर लीव्स एंड द अर्थ लुक्स डेड. ऐसा लगता है कि अर्थ जो है वो डेड है. बट अगेन सी ड्यूरिंग स्प्रिंग द अर्थ बिकम्स लाइवली एज फ्लावर्स ब्लूम. जब स्प्रिंग सीजन में फिर से फूल उगते हैं, पेड़ों पे पत्ते लगते हैं, तब फिर से जो है पूरा लाइवली हो जाता है पूरा अर्थ. तो हमें भी ऐसा ही बनना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर हम साइलेंट है इसका मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि हम डेड हैं, बट वी आर थिंकिंग, प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द स्प्रिंग. ऑलराइट, जस्ट लाइक द अर्थ. सो लाइक अर्थ वी शुड बी पेशेंट. अर्थ के जैसा हमें बिल्कुल पेशेंट होना चाहिए. ठीक है. Alright, so in this way, man can also rejuvenate himself after being silent and motionless. तो इसी तरीके से जो है इंसान भी अपने आप को फिर से रिफ्रेश कर सकता है, रीजुविनेट कर सकते हैं, री एनर्जाइज कर सकता है after being silent and motionless. So silent and motionless does not mean you are dead. It means that you are preparing to refresh yourself, to rejuvenate yourself. ठीक है. तो ये हम, that is what the earth can teach us. तो अर्थ हमें ये सिखाता है. ठीक है. कैसे विंटर के बाद स्प्रिंग आता है, कैसे इनएक्टिविटी के बाद एक्टिविटी आता है. दिस इज व्हाट वी कैन लर्न फ्रॉम द अर्थ. So in the end, the poet repeats the same lines that he will count up to 12 and we must be quiet and he would go. The poem, you see the poem is ending now. In the end, the poet again repeats the same lines. The poet says that I will again count up to 12 and we all must be quiet, and then the poet will go away. Now, I will go is a very strong phrase here which signifies that it is time for some action. कि poet यह कहता है कि poet here says that I have explained you everything, now it is time for me to go. It means that I will go means here is that I have explained you everything, now it is time for me to do some action. Okay, it is time for me to do some action. So the poet has given the necessary knowledge and now it is time that we think deeply about that knowledge being imparted to us. So poet is leaving the explanation everything to us now. The poet is saying indirectly that मैंने तो तुम लोगों को knowledge दे दिया है, I have given all of you the necessary knowledge, now it is time for you. That means it is time for us to think deeply about the knowledge that is being imparted to us by the poet. Poet ने अपना काम कर दिया है. So the poet has accomplished his task. by explaining to us everything, and now he wishes to do some good deeds. Poet ही कहता है कि मैंने अपना काम कर दिया है by explaining everything to you, and now I want to do some action or I want to do some good things. ठीक है? Now you see, let us look at some analysis that will help you, okay, to understand the poem better. So self introspection or self examination is a very dominant or strong theme of this poem. Self introspection का मतलब है self examination, examining ourselves, that whatever we do, is it good or bad, that is called self examination. okay, कोई भी काम आप करते हैं वो सही कर रहे हैं कि गलत कर रहे हैं, तो सही गलत का नॉलेज आपके अंदर होना चाहिए, ठीक है ना, तभी जो है आपको समझ में आएगा। जो गलत है उसे हटा दीजिए, जो सही है उसे रखिए, और उसी से जो है पीस आएगा, शांति आएगा, फ्रेंडशिप आएगा, यूनिवर्सल ब्रदरहुड प्रमोट होगा। ओके, सो इफ वी वांट टू थिंक अबाउट समथिंग एंड अंडरस्टैंड दैट, वी नीड टू बी साइलेंट। तो वही मैंने कहा कि अगर आप कुछ सोच रहे हैं तो आपको चुप होना पड़ेगा, यू हैव टू बी साइलेंट, अदरवाइज यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू थिंक एनीथिंग, ठीक है। थर्ड पॉइंट इज द पोएम डिस्कसेस पीस, ह्यूमैनिटी एंड ब्रदरहुड। वी हैव सीन poet has given example of war, poet has given example of loving human beings, okay, loving one another, so that promotes humanity. The poem also discusses brotherhood, okay, कि हम सब एक है, we are all one and united, okay. The poet asks the humans to come out of their busy lives and think of their actions and deeds. The poet हमें ये कहता है कि अपने busy life से, अपने money minded thinking से हमको बाहर आना है। We must come out of our money-minded outlook, of our busy lives, and think of our actions and deeds. ठीक है, जो काम हम कर रहे हैं वो सही है या गलत है। To be precise, the poet tells us to realize our wrongdoings and rectify those. तो indirectly poet क्या कह रहा है? Poet हमें यही कह रहा है। Poet is telling us that we should realize our mistakes, and we should rectify those mistakes. We should correct those mistakes that we have made. And another important thing that the poet is telling, that you see, wars or any wars or battles, okay, have only given death and nothing else, है ना। कोई भी वार, कोई भी बैटल जो है हमें, इसने हमें सिर्फ डेथ दिया है और कुछ भी नहीं, ठीक है। It has given us only death. So this is the explanation of the poem. I hope you have understood the poem very nicely. And if there is anything that you did not understand, you can obviously comment me in the comment section, okay. Very easy poem, okay, not a very difficult poem. I've explained you everything almost, okay. So the poet here is actually focusing more on promoting universal brotherhood, peace, humanity, you know, uplifting humanity. And he says that wars and battles have given nothing but dead bodies only. So victories does not have any survivors. Even if we win also, say for example, you know, 5 group of men, they fight, okay, and one is killed. So these 5 people, or say for example, I'll just give this example to make you understand. Say there are 2 people who are fighting for something, and one gets killed. So he is actually the winner, but then one person has become less from this world, and that is a sad thing actually. So he is victorious, but there is no survivor actually. All right. So victories are, people are gaining victories, say battles between 2 nations, 2 countries, okay. And you see, people are losing lives, right? People are losing lives. So you know, definitely one party would be victorious, but without any survivors, right? So these wars, battles, fights, quarrels will bring only destructions and nothing else. This is what the poet says, okay. So let us think, sit quietly, let us be silent and think deeply, okay, what is right and what is wrong. All right, so if you have liked the poem, you can hit a like on my channel also. All right, and those who have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, like and share my videos. You can inform your friends, share my videos with your friends to come and like my videos, okay. So with love from Omni Gyan, and all the best to all of you. Thank you.